Chapter 1. There was no way he was going to have enough time to get everything done and catch the 5 o'clock train from Boston heading north. Ben glanced around the empty office building and felt like banging his head against a wall. Instead, he lay his forehead on the cool wood of his desk and groaned a little. For the past 2 days, he had been fighting off a cold, which had caused his work to slip and fall behind. He would have had time to play catch-up that weekend if his boss hadn't called him shortly before he had left yesterday with a surprise. He had been informed that he'd be spending the weekend, and possibly longer, up north, evaluating an employee for a potential raise. Sure, it was something he did, but this time he had almost begged to have the task handed off to someone else. His boss had been determined enough that he had known there was no possible way of getting out of the trip. So he had worked late yesterday and had also worked through his lunch break today, just to catch up. Raising his head, he glanced at the clock and frowned. He had less than 10 minutes to make it out of the building and to the train station. There was no way. Not unless he ran, and with his head already pounding, he doubted he could stomach it. Closing down his computer, he flipped off his light and thought about sitting at the station to wait for the next train, which would mean almost 3 hours of complete misery, waiting. Not to mention, it would put him behind schedule once more. He shivered as he stepped outside. Wrapping his coat tight around him, he decided to chance it and started walking at a very fast pace. How had his life come to this? He had been on his way in school to becoming one of the finest minds in his class. He had been valedictorian and voted by his classmates most likely to be a billionaire by 30. Now here he was with less than 3 years to go, still working for someone else. He stopped at the corner and wiped his nose on his sleeve. His vision was turning a little gray, so he unbuttoned his jacket to allow the cold spring air to wake him up. Shivering, he started walking again as he glanced down at his watch. 4 minutes until the train. Picking up the pace, he jogged the last 2 blocks. When he flashed his transit card and checked out the board, he was happily surprised to see that the train to Freeport, Maine had been delayed by 3 minutes. Glancing down, he smiled. For the first time all week, something had finally gone his way.